Hurricanes fans, we are back, and thankfully this time we get to celebrate a nice, dominant victory over North Carolina State, which I'm not going to lie to you. I was super nervous about this game for three different reasons. The first one, CJ Bailey was coming back to Miami, wanting to prove that he was overlooked and shouldn't have been. So I was nervous about that. I knew he would be like super focused and wanting to get back at us for overlooking him. The other reason was because Keontae Scott, who I think is a dominant defensive player for us, was out, so I was really concerned about that. And then the third thing is just the fact that Miami is super inconsistent. You don't know which team you're going to get. So I was like, what's going to happen? Thankfully, we got the most dominant victory this season, and I'm not counting Bethune-Cookman. God bless Bethune-Cookman, but I am not counting him in this. All right. But this is the most dominant, most complete game we've played all season. If you've never watched one of these instant reaction videos from me, what I typically do is go over just like some big picture stuff at the beginning of the video about the Hurricanes. And then after that, I'll go through all the notes that I took throughout the game. And it's usually a bunch of notes. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. All the notes that I was thinking while watching the game live. I'll just go over all those notes throughout this video. Let's get to the big picture stuff real quick. So the first thing I want to cover real quick is the fact that the college football playoffs, like I'm not saying we're going to get in the playoffs. I'm not saying we're not going to get in the playoffs, but there's hope that we get in, right? We took some tough blows this week. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Took some tough blows. For instance, basically we're number 15. We need number 9 through number 20 to take losses. That's basically what we need. The reason why we need the teams behind us to take losses, because if a team like Michigan beats Ohio State, they will jump us. So instead of, Michigan continue to be behind us, they will jump over us. If USC continues to win, there's a possibility that they can jump over Miami and leave us on the outside looking in. So if you just look at what happened today, Oregon, don't worry about them because we're talking about number 9 and on. Notre Dame got a big win against a team that we're going to be playing pretty soon, Pittsburgh, which I've told y'all earlier this season, the reason why I hate the ACC, and the reason why I hate the ACC is because it's obvious that they don't get up to play against teams outside of the conference. But when they're playing teams in the conference, they're making one-handed catches. They're doing all kind of crazy stuff that's just outside of their body. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you watch them against Miami, you watch them against Clemson, you're like, you're not like that. You watch them play against Vanderbilt, and they're snapping the ball over the punter's head. They're doing all of these things that the other team is not even forcing them to do. It's just a bunch of nonsense. So that's why I despise the ACC. You see Pitt looking tough over the last few weeks. They got all the number 22. They play against Notre Dame, and they just lay an egg. I don't know what they were doing today. They looked horrible. Their freshman quarterback, who was playing really well all season, just played weak today. Looked scared. Didn't know what he was doing. Bunch of unforced errors just annoyed me. But anyway, Texas, we need Texas to lose to get their third loss. It looks like Georgia's going to end up doing that. Georgia and Alabama taking a loss. They're number 4 and number 5. Them taking a loss does nothing for us because it just gives them their second loss of the season. They're in the SEC and they have 2 losses. They're going to be just fine. They'll go from number 4 to number 8. They'll still be in front of us. On the other hand, if a team like Oklahoma would have lost today to Alabama, they would have had 3 losses. They would have jumped behind Miami. That would have been wonderful for us. BYU hasn't played yet because I'm recording this at 8 o'clock Central Time, so they haven't played yet. Utah, we need them to lose. If they lose, they'll jump behind Miami. Vanderbilt didn't play today, but Utah winning, especially putting up a bunch of points like they did, wasn't good for us. Oklahoma beating Alabama was not good for us at all. That win over Alabama might give Oklahoma a shot at getting in as a 3-loss team. So that was kind of scary to me, seeing them win. Georgia Tech, if they were playing anybody but Boston College, they would have lost today. Georgia Tech looked terrible. And then Boston College did what they do, gave it away at the end. Terrible. I was rooting for them so hard, and they just gave it away. USC, they ended up winning pretty big today. They're only 2 spots behind us. There's a chance that they could potentially jump us eventually. Michigan, they won today. Virginia, they beat Duke today pretty handily, actually. And then Louisville ended up winning. Louisville lost yesterday. So, man, I'm telling you, with Louisville losing, that set up some really nice things for us. I was hoping that Michigan would go ahead and lose to Northwestern because it was a close game, but they ended up winning. I was really hoping Georgia Tech would lose, ended up winning. Utah and Oklahoma, especially the Oklahoma game. I was really banking on that one because I'm like, Oklahoma, they got to lose to Alabama. And they did not. They ended up pulling it out. So we got to move up 5 spots, y'all. So we got to look at these teams that's in front of us and say which of these 5 spots can we actually take. And it's got to be Vanderbilt, Utah, BYU, Oklahoma, and Texas. Those are the 5 teams that we have to take. Got to jump them. Ole Miss, they're playing Florida right now. I don't know if they'll win that game or not, but if they lose, they'll still be in front of us. They'll probably drop to 11 from 7, so that's not going to do anything for us. Those are the 5 teams I just listed off: Virginia, Michigan, USC, Georgia Tech. Not too concerned about those, but the ones in front of us, Vanderbilt, Utah, BYU, Oklahoma, and Texas, they all have to lose, and we got to continue winning to jump them. The bottom line. All right, so that's the quick little heads up on what happened today as far as the getting into the college football playoffs. Now let's talk about this football game, y'all. Okay, so so I'm still going to give you 3 or 4 different big picture things that I got from this game. I have a family member that works in one of my businesses. And she wasn't performing. She wasn't doing her job very well. So my wife came to me and she was like, hey, what are we going to do about this family member who's not doing the job correctly? Like, I don't want to fire a family member. Should we keep her on or just tell her don't work anymore? We'll continue paying her. Like, what do you want to do? And my response was, I want to do whatever is good and right for the business. Whatever helps the business, that's what we need to do. If it's firing this person, fire that person. So that was a decision we made. What is that story about? That story is about a decision that our head coach has to make about our running backs. I know we love Mark Fletcher. I know we love some other running backs, Jordan Lyle. We love these people. They've been with us for a little while. They've shown flashes. They've been consistent. They've been loyal. But I'm telling y'all, this Gerard Pringle, like, he's the tough decision they got to make. I know he probably cares about these kids like crazy, but Gerard Pringle is changing. He's changing this team. When he's on the field, it makes the defense sweat like crazy. Not only because he's a smaller back and it's harder to see where he's at behind those big linemen, but because he can stretch the field left and right. He can go left, he can go right, or he can go between the tackles. When we have somebody like Mark Fletcher or Jordan Lyle playing, they are so focused on running between the tackles, it's crazy. And now we've got a running back who can bounce it outside. I don't know, y'all. Well, I'm not going to say I don't know. I do know the best decision for our team is to start Gerard Pringle from now on. He's got to play, and he's got to get about 15 to 20 touches every game. Not just giving him carries out the backfield, but throwing little screen passes to him, all of that. I know that O.C. Dimples, because I know a lot of y'all going to say, well, the play calling has changed. I understand that. I know O.C. Dimples is finally throwing the ball down the field. He's throwing it left, right. He's running it up the middle. He's running it outside, left and right. He just opened up the playbook and he's confusing and making the defense off balance. I understand that. But I think there's far more to it than just that. I think Gerard Pringle I think he brings a whole nother dynamic to our team that we just have not had. I don't know, like Mark Fletcher's not that type of running back. And then Jordan Lyle just doesn't have the spark that he had last year, at least not yet. So if you ask me, the best thing for this team right now is to start Gerard Pringle and have him as your lead back. I don't know what he looks like as a I don't know what he looks like as a passing a pass blocking back. I don't know what he looks like in that situation. But as far as carrying the ball, it's a massive difference, and I'm sure y'all noticed it too. The dude just has pop. He knows how to be patient behind the line and then hit the holes real quick. He knows how to bounce outside whenever they're not containing him. He's just showing a whole different side that we have not seen yet. We've not seen from our running backs just yet. So, Mario Cristobal, you can either make a decision based on loving this person or loving these people, or make a decision based on what's better for the company. As I said earlier, in this instance, what's best for the team. And what's best for the team is starting the freshman running back. He looks pretty outstanding to me. Okay, the next thing. This is the most complete game that we have played, y'all. It's the most complete game we've played. The defense looked crazy good today. I did not expect that. They looked crazy good. CJ Bailey looked scared, which honestly I'm going to say, like, fair enough. Like, the defense looked violent and vicious. That's the two words that I would use like for what they look like today. They were all over the field, and when they made contact with you, you felt it. And it made you want to step, it made these players want to step out of bounds next time instead of trying to get 3 or 4 extra yards. It was pretty obvious. The way they were rallying to the ball and hitting people, it looked like we remember like the first couple of games, we talked about how Heatherman in the offseason discussed how they wanted to be violent. In the first couple of games, they showed that. I remember watching them against Florida, and I was like, these boys are hitting today. And I hadn't really thought that until today, all over the field. And then the last thing that I'll mention as far as big picture, and then I'll get into my notes. We have to play players that give us what I consider or what I call bonus yards. You probably wonder what are bonus yards? That means you give the ball to a player. Let's say you throw those screen pass to him. You expect for him to catch the ball wide open and then turn, and then he's got a fleet of blockers in front of him. Every now and again, that doesn't happen. Every now and again, he'll catch it with somebody hanging on him. And he's able to break that tackle just magically and then get you 15 yards after that. I call those 15 yards bonus yards. If you have me catching that pass and turning around and there's somebody holding me, I'm going down. But when you have somebody like Gerard Pringle who catches that and he turns around, he's able to break tackle and get 15 extra yards. He did that a couple of times, maybe 3 times in this game. And I was like, if we had a different running back, if Mark Fletcher, I thought it multiple times, if Mark Fletcher ran that same play, we would have got maybe 3 yards out of it. But since he was in the game, he had that quick twitch, he got like 15 out of it. And I saw that multiple times. So we got to put players on the field who give us bonus yards. I think that JoJo Trader has been kind of a disappointment so far this season, mainly because he hasn't been able to get on the field. But he's a player that I believe gives us a lot of bonus yards. If you look at what he did in the bowl game last season, he carried a defender into the end zone. If you look at what he did against SMU, he carried another player in the end zone. He's not just catching the ball and getting down. He's catching the ball with the mentality of making you take him to the ground. I love that mentality. He's another player that gives us bonus yards. Keelan Marion is another player who gives us bonus yards. When Keelan catches the ball, you look, he turns and you look at it, it's like, if that was, and you just name a different receiver, he wouldn't be able to get those 5 or 6 extra yards, bonus yards as I call them. So we got to put players on the field who's going to be that type of Percy Harvin player where you're like, if it wasn't that dude, that play would have only got 4 yards and we got 12 out of it. That's what I'm talking about. All right. First quarter. Here are my notes. First quarter, we had a pass and a fumble, and it was ruled that he had possession. That play drove me crazy. And the reason why that drove me crazy to me is because I did not think that he had enough of a football play to call it a fumble. I've seen that play over and over and over again where a player catches it, takes a step, turns, gets hit, the ball falls. I got a sneeze coming. Goodness gracious, it won't come out. Anyway, I've seen that happen multiple times, and they call it incomplete pass. This time it was a fumble. Drove me crazy. There it is. Bless me. All right, so this time it was called a fumble. Drove me nuts. Here's what I would say, okay? And please follow me on this. If that exact same play happened and our running back who caught the ball turned, he got hit and dropped the ball, if he was in the end zone, would they have called that a touchdown or would they have called that incomplete pass? I'm telling y'all right now, they would not have said he caught the ball, he completed the pass, then he got hit, and it would have been a fumble in the end zone. But since it's a touchdown already, the fumble didn't happen. They would have called it incomplete if that same play happened in the end zone. I promise you they would have. They would have said, we can't call this a touchdown because he didn't possess the ball long enough. That's what they would have said. If it was a fumble in the end zone, they would have said, well, he scored the ball first. He got the ball, complete possession. Since he had complete possession, it's a touchdown. And the fumble happened after the touchdown, so we negate the fumble. Result of the play, touchdown. You get what I'm saying? So I remember a play where Deuce Robinson from Florida State, I forgot who they were playing. Was it us? I think it was us. Anyway, he had a long play, long pass, about 40-yard pass in the end zone. He caught the ball, took a couple of steps, then the ball got knocked out of his hands, and they were like, incomplete. It was the same play that just happened in this game. So that kind of stuff annoyed me. I think if you're in the end zone, whether you're in the end zone or not, anyway, you get what I'm saying. You follow me. It just annoyed the heck out of me. I thought that should have been called a incomplete pass. Anyway, that play earlier this season would have just derailed the Hurricanes. They would have fallen apart after that. Like we've seen them do that many times this year. Thankfully, they were able to bounce back and get busy on them. So, Jacoby Thomas, pick 6. On this play, y'all, he read that so well. And this is when y'all got to give Mario Cristobal a whole lot of props for what he does in the transfer portal. Because I'm telling you right now, that play last year would have been a touchdown for the offense. Easy. Because the play that they drew was exactly the type of play that killed us last season. We were running, I think we were running 3 deep, I believe is what it was, 3 deep safeties. The safety that was on the left side of the field had a receiver run straight at him. And then that receiver ran towards the middle of the field. Last year, that person who was on the left side of the field, guarding the entire left side, he would have followed that receiver to the middle of the field, leaving the left side of the field wide open for the other receiver who ended up coming behind him. This season, what happened is Jacoby Thomas saw the receiver coming towards him. He backs up. That receiver takes off towards the middle of the field. He fakes like he's going to go with that receiver. Then he jumps back to the receiver who's coming up behind that receiver standing on the left side. That's how he intercepted that. We never would have gotten that last year. So I was screaming in my house like crazy because I was so happy that they are actually making changes instead of wanting to be right, wanting to look right. They're focused on getting it right. And it's obvious when I saw that. The second thing that I have on my notes. Jacoby Thomas, second interception, and that came off of a blitz. I did not expect Corey Heatherman to blitz as much as he has blitzed this year. Let me know in the comment section if you're as surprised as I am when it comes to that. Mainly because what I believe got our defensive coordinator in trouble so much last year is him trying to do too much cute stuff. Like I said last year, he would try to blitz this corner and then rotate this safety over here and then rotate that safety this way. It's like, bro, you doing too much. So Corey Heatherman is doing a lot of blitzing which could confuse a whole lot of players and it could get players in positions that they're not used to. But they are adapting to it this year so much better. I did not expect him to do that. I figured he was going to say, look, we've got some of the best talent in the world as far as college football goes. Let's just roll the football out there, play a nice, simple cover shell every game, and our talent is just going to be better than your offensive talent, and we'll be just fine. Just dumb everything down, simplify everything, and just let them go out there and just play quick without having to think so much. That's what I thought he was going to do. But my man's been calling blitzes like crazy from everywhere. Like the nickel blitzes this play, the linebacker blitzes the next play. This time the safety's coming up on this side and the linebacker's coming that side. He's like he blitzes from everywhere. So kudos to him for that. He know what he's doing for sure. He getting busy. I just hope and pray that this continues as his career goes with the Hurricanes. However long he's with the Hurricanes, I hope that this continues because if you remember, we were actually singing the praises of our last defensive coordinator a couple of years ago because he kept us in a lot of those games. And then teams found out what we were doing, and then it just went like crazy. It just was like, oh, we're one of the worst defenses in the country, it seemed. So hopefully this whole thing continues to blossom as it is and continues to get better. All right, second quarter, 3rd and 2. Carson Beck threw an incomplete pass on a 3rd and 2. I'm telling y'all, that play, for lack of a better word, pissed me off. Mainly because I'm not one to just like jump on people and everything they do is wrong. I'm not that type of person. But I'm telling you, Carson Beck has not impressed me this season. He just has not. He misses receivers consistently. His accuracy is kind of sometimey. I do think he played really well in this game. But he totally missed Elijah Lofton. I mean, this is early. I don't know. I didn't write the time down, but it was early second quarter, a 3rd and 2. Carson Beck rolls out to the right. Golly, excuse me. Carson Beck rolls out to the right. Elijah Lofton is standing in the middle of the field, about 4 yards deep, standing there like this, like throw it to me, throw it to me, throw it to me, because no one was by him. And Carson Beck threw it about 12 yards down the field to a receiver who was glued covered. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. He played well, so I'll say that. But at this point in the game, I was super pissed off because we weren't moving the ball. We didn't look so great, especially on the offensive side. And the only time we actually looked productive on the offensive side was the only time we actually looked decent on the offensive side of the field is when we did like a trick play or something. So I'm like, you don't get bonus points for that. You need to move the ball up the field yourself without having your receiver, your star receiver, throwing the ball for you down the field. I need to see a typical offensive drive where we just walk the ball either methodically or have a huge play where the quarterback is doing something and causing this, or the receiver gets loose. I need to see something like that. As Shannon Sharp said years ago, he has the same mentality that I have when I watch these football games. I'm not so focused on what the score is. I'm not so focused on the fact that Miami scored a touchdown here or scored a touchdown there. I want to know, how did they score the touchdown? And is this something that we're really good at and can do against other teams? Whenever we have a bunch of trick plays and stuff, I'm like, hey, I'm glad we scored, but that's not something that you can do consistently against a team like Ohio State or Alabama. I want us to have the typical type scoring drive, whether it's run the ball outside this play, run the ball up the middle of this play, play action, throw it over the top. I want to see that type of offense. And when Carson Beck does that, I give him credit for it. But whenever we score on a crazy fluke or we score on a double pass, I'm like, okay, cool, we scored. But that doesn't give the quarterback I don't give the quarterback credit for that. I just don't. But yeah, he totally missed Lofton. Just go back and look at it. 3rd and 2 in the early in the second quarter. Totally missed him. All right. The next one, the next topic that I have, or next note that I have, says Bain isn't winning as fast as he used to. If you remember against Notre Dame, it looked like Notre Dame's defensive tackle couldn't even get his hands on Ruben Bain, especially at the last drive. Ruben Bain would just run around him every time. He would beat him instantly. And it seems like he's not beating the defenders as quick as he used to. I don't know if it was because he was not doing an outside rush this time because he didn't want to give lanes for CJ Bailey to be able to run up the middle. I think that was part of the reason why. But it seems like over the last few weeks, he's been utilizing his bull rush instead of utilizing his speed and his agility. It seems like he's mainly going with the bull rush and just trying to push the defensive or the offensive tackle into the quarterback almost. It's like, bro, like if you can get around him, then go around him. Like, what are you doing? I'm seeing like Mesidor. He doesn't get as much respect as I think he should. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that because he is ranked number 2 as far as defensive ends go in the draft. But Mesidor is impressive. I'm telling you, that dude is impressive. He racing Bain to the quarterback every drive. It's crazy. The next thing I have on here is Tony Pass. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it, y'all. I've been a fan since 2002 when we lost to Ohio State. That's the game that made me a Hurricanes fan. I've watched I have not missed one game since then. I have not missed one game with the Hurricanes since then. I've gone to Disney World. I've had all kind of family vacations. I've done all kind of things. On Saturday when the Hurricanes play, everything stopped and I watch the game. It doesn't matter where I'm at. Seriously. So, with that being said, I'm going to say Malachi Tony is the best. He's having the best freshman season that we've ever seen. Duke Johnson comes to mind. I think Duke Johnson is the most important recruit that we've had. And I know that sounds crazy, but I can explain it in a different story on a different day. But Malachi Tony is the best freshman I have ever seen with the Hurricanes. If you can think of somebody before 2002, God bless you. Kudos to you. But I've been watching him since 2002, and I cannot think of one freshman who's looked as good as this. This dude can run the ball to the backfield. He can run a jet sweep. He can run a wide receiver tunnel screen. He can throw the ball. He can catch the ball 40 yards down the field over the top. He can run the slot receiver where he's just like, okay, get me one-on-one with this nickel defender. I'm going to beat him every time. He's a freshman. He can punt return. He can do everything. He is the best freshman I have ever seen in a Hurricanes uniform, ever. And if you hate that, you let me know who you think is better, because I can't think of one person. All right, that pass was crazy, by the way. If you just go out in your yard and try to throw the ball 30 yards through the air and see how tough it is. It's tough to do that. And I know he played he played quarterback in high school. But that throw that he threw in the first half was so impressive. I'm like, this little dude is crazy good. And I've told y'all before, I think I said like 3 weeks ago, when I just go from like overall football player, Malachi Tony has to be in the top 5 in the country. Just plain football player. The dude can catch, run over you, block, throw. He can do all of it. It's crazy. Like, he is the top 5 football player in the country. Not freshman, football player in the country. So impressive. Okay. Throw on the run. Like, he threw on the run and on a 2-point conversion a few weeks ago. But anyway, next thing I have on here, we did a QB sneak. We had a third, what was it? 3rd and 1, 4th. I think it was a 3rd and goal of like the 1 or 2 yard line. And I'm wondering, like, are we ever going to do a QB sneak? I have not really seen us do that. I'm wondering if we ever going to do that. I just feel like a QB sneak is so much safer. And the odds of getting the first down from 1 yard out are so much higher when you do a QB sneak because it allows you to bring your running back up and push him in the direction he needs to go in versus the quarterback getting the ball, taking a few steps back, handing it to the running back, and hoping that there's no penetration from the defensive tackles. I would rather us just start to do some quarterback sneaks every now and again just to get that extra yard that we need. Because we've seen 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, we have not been very successful this season. Let's just be honest. We've seen us fail on those. Probably 4th and 1, we've probably failed on that 3 or 4 times this season. That can't be right. You know what I'm saying? So, got to try a quarterback sneak just to keep the defensive tackles from giving them time to penetrate and get through the line. All right, the next thing I have is 1 yard TD run, no false starts, which was a beautiful thing. I know, and that was, I think Carson Beck was under the center, which didn't allow him to do the clap on that one. So he got under the center. It was an audible, meaning voice, So he said, down to Hut, got the ball, handed it off, and they did it with tempo, no false start. Good job, y'all. I'm not even saying that like sarcastically. I'm like really saying like, good job. We got to consistently do better at that. We were not a finalist for, as you heard the analyst say, we were not a finalist this year for the best offensive line. And I do believe it was because we got so many penalties because we have been atrocious. College word, atrocious. With our pre-snap penalties on the offensive line and with our holdings. It's been pitiful. So illegal man down the field, we done all of it. So Mario Cristobal, offensive, OC Dimples, they've done something because it seems like our pre-snap penalties are not nearly as bad. Now, we did have quite a few penalties this game. We had 8 penalties for 75 yards, while they had 4 for 30. But even still, I think that we looked much better as far as our penalties go, or lack of penalties. Major improvement. I talked about it last week, how frustrating it was for me to see like our offensive coordinator is finally doing things that we have been begging him to do, like run the ball outside, throw the ball on first down, throw the ball on 2nd and 2, like be aggressive. We've asked for that. And even though he was being aggressive, we still was not seeing the results in that, which was kind of frustrating to me. And it made me say, well, hell, like if he's calling the right plays and we're still not getting first downs and touchdowns and we're still settling for field goals, then what's the problem? It just made you like, it confuses me a little bit. Like, I don't know what the problem is now. But a lot of the problem is shooting ourselves in the foot with these penalties. Instead of a 1st and 10 or instead of a 2nd and 3, you end up with 1st and 20 or 2nd and 13. That's a lot of the issue that's what's coming up and killing us. All right, next thing that I have on here. At 10:29, I said number 5 hit hard, then Poyser hit hard. So Justin Scott, I don't think he's getting nearly enough credit. I don't think Armando Blunt's getting enough credit. But I think Justin Scott, when he's in the game, he has been a total game wrecker. He is living in the backfield, y'all. So at 10:29, he comes through, hits somebody. I don't remember who got the ball on this play. It just says at 10:29 in the 2nd quarter. Justin Scott gets through the line, hits somebody real hard. Then the guy, I think it was a running back, ends up running to the left side of the offensive line. And then Poyser comes up and clocks him. And I was like, whew, looking vicious today. So that was a beautiful thing to see. I would not have been wanting to wear an NC State helmet and shoulder pass that game. I would not want to play against them. All right, so at 9:40, I have back shoulder throw to Moore with the emoji with the eyes emoji. So I have not seen, if you ask me, we have not seen enough, how can I say, safe contested passes. Let's say that. We've seen plenty of contested passes that Carson Beck is throwing in the middle of, he'll throw like, the first or the second? It was the second interception that he threw in the Louisville game. He threw it up to, it might have been the first. He threw it up to Malachi Tony, and he was triple covered. And it was like, dang, bro, that's not what we need, you know? So that's a contested pass, but it's not a safely contested pass. This pass that he threw to Moore, when Moore ended up hurting his back, it was like maybe a 25-yard pass, but he threw a back shoulder. He was covered, but he threw it back shoulder to where the defender had no idea it was coming. Perfectly thrown. So when I saw that, I'm like, uh-oh, they might be onto something for the rest of this year. If he can go back to that, throw it that confidently and that accurate, we might be onto something. Because if you look at what he did against Louisville when he threw that second interception or the first one, I forgot which one it was. He threw it deep down the sideline on the left side of the field. That ball was just a jump ball. It was real high. It was far out in front of both of the players, and the defensive player just happened to look up and catch it. This pass he threw today wasn't a big rainbow. It was a dart that he threw, and he threw it behind him where the receiver could just turn, and boom, it was right there in his chest. If he can throw more of those, we might be able to do something with that. That's what Cam Ward lived on last year. He was really good at doing that. So if we can get that going, that would be nice. Moore looked good today, I thought, by the way. Really good. Um, y'all gonna kill me for this one, but I gotta say it. I've been pulling for Elijah Lofton since last year. Really pulling for him because he's a big kid. He's super athletic, and he seems like he would be an excellent football player. I think I'm just about done with Elijah Lofton. I think I'm just about done with him. I know he scored a touchdown later on in this game, but he had a drop this game, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Elijah Lofton has had some of the most critical plays this season out of anybody on the team. Like Carson Beck obviously has had critical plays critical losing plays because he's a quarterback. He gets the ball in his hands every play. But Elijah Lofton has been in so like Elijah Lofton does not touch the ball very often, but for him to touch the ball so few times and to have so many killer plays that just kill us, like the ratio of that is crazy. We've seen him run the wrong route, which potentially caused interception. We've seen him get beat on blocks, which causes us to get stuffed on 4th and 1. We've seen him block the wrong person multiple times. We've seen him drop a touchdown in the end zone against SMU. We've seen him drop an easy first down in this game. Like, I don't know, at this point, I'm looking at him and I'm saying, bro, I think I'm almost done. And I'm telling y'all, I was a huge fan of Elijah Lofton, pulling for him still, but I'm just about off the bandwagon. If you look at him against Louis, I'm telling you, just go and look at how many catches he's had this season. Hasn't been a whole lot. Go and look at sure, he's played quite a bit, but if you just go and look at how many catches he's had, it's not a whole lot. He doesn't touch the ball a whole lot. But if you go and look at Louisville, that game ended throwing the pass towards him, and he ran the wrong route. And y'all can say, no, he didn't. That was Carson Beck throwing one in the bus. Just go look at it. So that happened. You go look at SMU. He got beat on a 4th and 1, and then his guy came in and made a tackle. That happened. SMU, he catches the ball in the end zone. He gets hit, drops the ball in the end zone. And then we only lose by 3. That would have been 4 points. That's 4 points we lost. He drops a pass today. He has been a part, like for him to be spotlighted such a minimal amount, and to have so many, like to have his fingerprints all over the plays that killed us this season. It's kind of uncanny. It's kind of crazy. So I say all of that to say, I still am in support of Elijah Lofton. I still believe he could be a really good football player, but my confidence level in him has dimmed. Like my confidence light on him has dimmed like crazy. I can admit that. But he still got all the tools that he came into the U with. He still got all the tools that we were like, looking at last year saying, that dude might be a really good player next year. We were all hyped about him getting involved in the offense. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. But he has had some critical losing plays this season, and we just got to get it figured out. Okay. Justin Scott. He reminds me a lot. So, this the next note that I have is Justin Scott. He's a sophomore, y'all. He reminds me a whole lot of those Georgia defensive tackles that seem to consistently get drafted into the NFL. Um, you look at Georgia, who is it? Philadelphia. They've got two of them. He looks just like one of those ultra violent, aggressive, athletic defensive tackles that's going to do some major things in the NFL. Justin Scott looks like he's going to develop into something special. I'm telling you. And I know he's like, he doesn't get on the field too often, so you don't see a whole lot of him. But from the little bit that I've seen, the little small sample size, he's living in the backfield and he's just a sophomore. I think next year he's going to jump off the screen to people. I don't think people are going to talk about him much at the beginning of next season. But I think by the end of next season, like Ruben Bain came into this season with all kind of expectations. And I think he's surpassed them or met those. I don't think that Justin Scott's going to come into next season with those expectations. But I do believe by the end of the season next year, they're going to be like, this dude is going to like do some special things in the NFL. I think they'll be talking about him in the draft next year by the end of the season. All right. So then I go to the second quarter, and they put a stat up that said that, and this just shows how well the defense played. North Carolina State had 4 rushing yards, 2 turnovers, and 4 punts. That is crazy work. That is crazy. And it was towards the end of the first half. 4 rushing yards, 2 turnovers, and 4 punts. That is how well the defense played today. Kudos to them. Bravo to them. Okay, the next thing I have on here is why no fair catch. If you just go and look at some stuff from last year, and I actually mentioned this last year. I was like, why is our punt returner never fair catching stuff? Why is he like 10 yards behind where the ball is hitting the ground? He's just pointing to it, telling players to get out the way. Earlier this year, they had Malachi Tony running under that stuff, fair catching all of it. Now it seems like if there's 3 punts, he fair catches 1, and he's letting the other 2 bounce on the ground. I don't know what that's about. I know it's a lot safer in a sense. You hate for the ball to bounce on the ground and hit one of your players. At the same time, it keeps you from muffing a punt, dropping it, and letting the other team pick it up. So let me know if y'all, because, hey, I don't know everything about football. I can totally admit that. So let me know if there's some kind of strategy that I'm missing here. But it seems like we aren't fair catching these balls as much as we were in the first 4 or 5 games. We caught almost all of them in the first 4 or 5 games. And I noticed it because I talked about it last year, how we would let everything just bounce on the ground. I'm like, we giving up like 15 yards sometimes when it bounces and just spits and just keeps on rolling. And they're able to down the ball at the 9-yard line when we could have caught it at like the 35. You know what I'm saying? It just keeps on bouncing. So let me know if there's some kind of strategy that I'm missing here. But to be at the 40-yard line and let it bounce, I don't understand that. It seems like you would want to catch that to save the field position. Anyway, next thing I have on here is Keelan Marion. Shake for a first down. So this is part of what I talked about earlier when I said bonus yards is important. We got to put players on the field who are going to give us bonus yards from time to time. Keelan Marion caught the ball at probably like 2 yards past the first down. Probably like 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. He put a move on somebody, put another move on somebody else, and went and got a first down. Got like 12 yards on that play. So people have been talking, a lot of folks have been talking down on a couple of players. Carson Beck is one that people are really like down on. Keelan Marion is another player that people are down on like crazy. I think we got to give credit when credit is due, y'all. We can't just talk bad about folks when they play a poor game. Keelan Marion was brought in as a transfer. I have no idea how much he's making. I'm not really concerned about that. And it just seemed like he was just bottled up and not really being too productive. I haven't really been too negative on it. I haven't been negative at all, but I've read a bunch of stuff where people are just fed up with him. But these last couple of games, today and the game from last week, he's looked pretty exceptional. So we've got to give the dude credit, man. Like just as quick as we are to criticize these folks, when they do something really good, we got to give them credit for it. So let's give Keelan Marion a lot of credit for how well he's played today and in his last game. The third person that people have been trashing is OC Dimples, Shannon Dawson. People have been killing Shannon Dawson. Oh my Lord. With reason, honestly. With reason. I still think that he's an excellent offensive coordinator. I really believe that. Um, just based on what I saw him do at Cam Ward last year. I don't think Cam Ward was the offensive coordinator like a lot of y'all were saying. Like, oh, Cam Ward is the reason why that was happening. I believe Shannon Dawson calls an excellent game when he trusts his quarterback. I believe he calls an excellent game when he has full trust in his quarterback. I think he calls an excellent game when his quarterback is confident. When you have a quarterback like Tyler Van Dyke, who looks incredibly shaky, and you don't know if he's going to have a fall apart interception, meaning where he just throws the ball right into the chest of a defensive lineman or right into the chest of a linebacker, and you're like, how the hell did you not see him? Those fall apart interceptions, Tyler Van Dyke would do that. He could throw 5 interceptions in a game, right? Carson Beck is the same type of player. When it comes to somebody like Cam Ward, the more time that Cam Ward got in the backfield, he just buy himself time. He just moving to this side of the pocket, and he'll move to that side of the pocket, and he make this person miss. The more time went on, there's some players when they do that, you're like, oh, he gonna fumble, he gonna turn the ball over. The more time Cam Ward ball, I was like, uh-oh. The more I felt like he was gonna have a huge play. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was in the backfield for 7 yards, I'm like, this is probably gonna be a 70-yard pass. If he was in the backfield for 7 seconds, I should say, I'm like, this is gonna be a 70-yard pass. If he was in the backfield for 5 seconds, this is gonna be a 50-yard pass. The longer he held it, the more I expected on that play, is the way I should say it. Carson Beck is the opposite. When Carson Beck is on time, he is excellent. That means get the snap, take 1 step, 2 step, boom, throw it. Catch the ball, 1 step, 2 step, fake pass, throw it. When he's on time like that, he is exceptional. I don't mean he's a decent quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's an exceptional quarterback when he's on time. But when he gets back there and there's a defensive tackle at his feet and the defensive end runs behind him and he doesn't know where he went and he starts doing this number, I'm like, oh, Lord, it's going to be an interception. He's going to throw it right into the chest of the safety. Like, he will do that. He just gets back there. The more time he holds onto the ball, I'm like, oh, man, get rid of it. Because the longer he holds it, the bigger the mistake typically is for him. Which is crazy that they're the total opposites. They're the total opposites when it comes to that. But Shannon Dawson, he calls an excellent game when his quarterback is confident. Over the last 5-6 weeks, he understands that his quarterback has not been confident. Thankfully, it looked like Carson Beck got a lot of confidence in this game, throwing the ball down the field and everything. Which has allowed... Goodness, y'all can probably tell I'm struggling with my nose right now. Golly. But you can tell like Shannon Dawson has confidence in him right now because he's calling different type of plays, throwing the ball down the field. He's allowing Carson Beck to open it up a little bit, throw it on first down, throw it on second down. So we'll see. I think that we're in such a predicament right now where we have to win big. We can't just win. We've got to be impressive. And the only way we can win big is by putting a bunch of points on the board. The only way to put a bunch of points on the board is by unleashing your quarterback and say, bro, we either going to win big or we're going to lose real big. You either going to score 3 touchdowns and 300 yards passing, or you're going to throw 4 interceptions and 2 pick sixes. We're going to do one or the other. Because if you lose a game, you're out anyway. If you lose a close game, you're probably out too. We got to win big. And that's the game plan look like they're going forward with, which I'm totally for it. Let's go. Um, so before I went on that crazy long tangent talking about Shannon Dawson, he was the third person that people are killing. We got to give him credit when credit's due, y'all. He threw a pad or he threw a play where uh, so Keelan Marion got that first down. Started looking like the offense was gonna stall a little bit, but then he threw a tunnel screen to Keelan Marion. Perfect play call. Ended up getting the first down. What does he do next? The next play. Excellent play call. Tony double move for a touchdown. Excellent play call. And I know some folks, some fans are just like, oh, he should do that every time. We got to give him credit when he calls a good play, y'all. That was an excellent play call. Mainly because if you watch that play, I want to get too deep on this one. But if you watch that play, it was a double move, but the double move was based on a rub route, which is super brilliant call. So anytime you get a rub route, the first thing that the defender wants to do is attach himself to the receiver. Anytime there's like a two receivers crossing, like they did on that play, the defender has to get as close to the receiver as he possibly can so he doesn't lose track of him and get bumped by the other receiver or the other defensive back. So when you have somebody who's spotlighted by every defense we play, like Malachi Tony, when he runs under a rub route, meaning he wants the other receiver to rub his defensive player that's guarding him, when Malachi Tony runs a shallow route and he runs under the rub route, the first thing that the corner is going to do is, oh, I got to run behind it as fast as I can and attach myself to him. But the problem is, as soon as the corner ran back to attach himself, Tony ran that direction. Double move. Perfect play call. Right in the end zone for a touchdown. Just go and look at it, see what I'm talking about. All right. Third quarter notes. Carson Beck scrambled to Marion for a first down and a touchdown. I'm sorry. First down, about 20-yard pass. This is the kind of stuff that I love from Carson Beck. I don't expect it, meaning like I don't think this is something that he's going to do every down or every week or every game. I don't expect him to do this kind of thing, but I do think. Hold on? Let me say that again. I don't think that this is something that Carson Beck is going to pull out of his repertoire every down. I don't think he can do that, but I do think that he can do this like once every game, twice every game. Like we can't have the situation where Carson Beck is just sitting back there like a statue and he can't move at all. But at the same time, we can't be calling these plays like he's going to be this rollout quarterback like Lamar Jackson and he's got these wheels on him. That's not realistic either. But every now and again, Carson Beck has to be able to get himself out of trouble, extend the play a little bit, and then throw it down and get us a first down. And that's exactly what we did on this play. Bought himself some time, looked like he should have been sacked, but he got out of it, looked down the field, got a 20-yard completion. Excellent job by Carson Beck. If I was the coaches, I would show him that on the game tape over and over and over. Show him like, look, this is what you can do. Get his confidence level right. Just don't try to do it every play, my man. Keep it cool now. The next thing I have on here is Pringle catch. Bonus 15 yards. So Carson Beck drops back, looking down the field, not seeing anybody, not seeing anything developing. So he just dumps it to Pringle, probably about 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. He runs up to a defender, jukes him, breaks another tackle, and before you know it, he gets about 15 yards after catching the ball. I love our other running backs, y'all, but I'm telling you, the other running backs that we have, Mark Fletcher, for instance, as much as I love Mark Fletcher, he's not getting those extra 15 yards. He's just not going to do that. He would have gone down. He would have ran over that guy probably and then stumbled forward a few times, a few steps, and then someone would have grabbed him and he would have been down about 5 yards out. But since Pringle was able to bounce off so quick and the dude can stop and start like that, since he's able to do that, he picks up an extra 15 yards on it, which is crazy. Bonus yards. Super important. Okay. Next thing I have on here is Elijah Lofton. I'm not gonna tell you the nickname that I got for him. I'm gonna leave that here. I'm not gonna tell you the nickname that I got for him. I almost did, but I'm not gonna believe that. But he ended up scoring that touchdown. It looked like he was just short of it. And I was gonna be like, "Oh Lord, have mercy." He lives up to his nickname, but it just seems like he's always a day late and a dollar short. He had a touchdown chance. I think it was against Bethune Cookman, where he stumbled and fell like 1 yard before the touchdown. I was like, "Oh my Lord, my man." They try to get you in the end zone and you can't quite do it, but he ended up getting in there this time, which is nice.